Right now, in this very moment, the universe is speaking to you, not in some grand, thunderous voice from above, but through the gentle whisper of your morning coffee steam rising toward the ceiling. Through the way the sunlight hits your window at exactly the right angle to catch your attention. Through the stranger who smiled at you yesterday when you needed it most. God, the source, the universe, whatever name feels right to you, is constantly communicating through the ordinary moments that make up your life. You see, most people are walking around waiting for some big sign, some miraculous event that will prove to them that there's something greater at work in their lives. They're looking for burning bushes and parting seas, missing the fact that the divine is speaking to them through their morning routine, through the challenges they face at work, through the conversations they have with their children. So the sacred isn't separate from the ordinary. It is the ordinary when you learn to listen with your heart instead of just your ears. Every single thing that happens to you is a form of communication from the highest part of yourself, from that infinite intelligence that some call God. When you stub your toe, rushing out the door, that's not just random bad luck. That's life telling you to slow down, to be present, to pay attention to where you're going. When someone cuts you off in traffic, that's not just another rude driver. That's an opportunity to practice patience, to choose love over anger, to remember that everyone is fighting battles you know nothing about. The problem is we've been taught to see life as a series of random events, good luck and bad luck, things that happen to us rather than for us. We've forgotten that we're not victims of circumstance, but active participants in a cosmic dance where every step, every stumble, every graceful movement is part of a larger choreography designed to help us grow, to help us remember who we really are. When you start to see life this way, everything changes. That job you lost wasn't a tragedy. It was redirection towards something better aligned with your purpose. That relationship that ended wasn't a failure. It was completion, making space for the love you're truly meant to experience. That illness that frightened you wasn't punishment. It was your body's way of getting your attention, asking you to listen more carefully to what you need. Think about the last time you felt truly stuck in your life. Maybe you were in a situation that seemed hopeless, where you couldn't see any way forward. Then suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, an opportunity appeared. A phone call came, a chance meeting happened. A book fell off the shelf right in front of you with exactly the message you needed to hear. Was that coincidence? Was that luck? Or was that the universe responding to your need, communicating through the language of synchronicity? The divine speaks to you through other people constantly. That friend who calls you right when you're feeling lonely, that's not accident. That mentor who appears in your life just when you need guidance, that's not chance. That child who asks you an innocent question that makes you see your whole situation differently, that's not random. God uses the people in your life as messengers, as teachers, as mirrors, to show you aspects of yourself you might not otherwise see. But here's what's really beautiful. You're also a messenger for others. When you smile at someone having a difficult day, you become the vehicle through which love enters their world. When you offer a helping hand to someone struggling, you become the answer to their prayer. When you speak words of encouragement to someone who's lost hope, you become the voice of the divine in their life. We're all angels for each other. We just don't always realize it. Nature is perhaps the most constant and clear way that the universe communicates with us. Have you ever noticed how a walk in the forest can instantly shift your mood? How watching the ocean waves can calm your mind? How sitting under a tree can help you find answers to questions you've been wrestling with for weeks? That's not just the beauty of nature having a pleasant effect. That's the earth itself offering you healing, wisdom, and perspective. The seasons teach us about the natural cycles of life, that there's a time for planting and a time for harvesting, a time for growth and a time for rest. The flowers don't worry about when they'll bloom. They trust the process. The trees don't resist letting go of their leaves in fall. They know that this letting go is what allows for new growth. When you align yourself with these natural rhythms, instead of fighting against them, your life flows with much greater ease. Animals, too, are messengers. That bird that keeps appearing outside your window might be telling you it's time to spread your wings. That dog that always seems to find you on your walks might be reminding you about unconditional love and living in the present moment. Indigenous cultures have always understood this. They know that every creature has medicine, has wisdom to offer if we're open to receiving it. Your dreams are another powerful way the divine communicates with you. While you sleep, your conscious mind steps aside and allows your higher wisdom to speak through symbols and stories. That recurring dream you keep having isn't just your brain sorting through random information. It's your soul trying to get your attention about something important in your waking life. Start keeping a dream journal. Write down what you remember as soon as you wake up. Look for patterns, for messages, for guidance that might be coming through this nighttime communication channel. Even your problems, your challenges, your deepest struggles are forms of divine communication. They're not punishments or signs that you're doing something wrong. They're invitations to grow, to expand, to become more of who you're meant to be. Every difficulty contains within it the seeds of wisdom, strength, and compassion. When you can learn to see your problems as teachers rather than enemies, you transform your entire relationship with life. The universe also speaks to you through your intuition, through those sudden knowing feelings that arise without logical explanation. You know what I'm talking about? That gut feeling that tells you to take a different route home. And later you find out there was a major accident on your usual path. That inner voice that warns you about someone before you have any concrete reason to be cautious. That sudden inspiration that leads you to call an old friend, only to discover they desperately needed to hear from you. Your intuition is your direct line to divine guidance. It's not separate from you. It is you, the highest, wisest part of you, that's connected to the infinite intelligence that runs the universe. But most of us have been taught to dismiss these feelings, to trust only what we can see and prove and measure. We've been conditioned to live from our heads instead of our hearts. And in doing so, we've cut ourselves off from our most reliable source of guidance. Learning to trust your intuition is like developing any other skill. It takes practice. Start small. Pay attention to the subtle feelings and impressions that arise throughout your day. Notice when something feels right or wrong, even if you can't explain why. Begin to act on these feelings in small ways and observe what happens. The more you trust and follow your intuitive guidance, the stronger and clearer it becomes. Your body, too, is constantly communicating with you. It holds wisdom that your mind hasn't even considered. When you're in a situation that's not good for you, your body knows it. You might feel tension in your shoulders, a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest. When you're on the right path, your body knows that too. You feel energized, alive, expansive. Learn to listen to these physical signals. Your body is always telling you the truth about what's happening in your life. The universe also communicates through repetition and patterns. When you keep seeing the same numbers on clocks, when the same theme keeps coming up in different conversations, when you keep hearing the same song that seems to speak directly to your situation, pay attention. These repetitions are not random. They're the universe's way of making sure you don't miss the message. Sometimes the communication comes through what appears to be obstacles or delays. You miss your flight and end up meeting someone who changes your life in the airport. Your computer breaks down, forcing you to take a break from work that you desperately needed. Your plans fall through, opening up space for something much better to unfold. What looks like bad luck is often divine redirection, steering you toward experiences and opportunities that serve your highest good. The key to hearing these communications is presence. When you're constantly worried about the future or rehashing the past, you miss the guidance that's available right now. The universe speaks in the present moment. It communicates through what's happening now, not through what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. This is why all spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of being present, of paying attention to what is, rather than what was or what might be. Meditation and quiet reflection create the inner space necessary to hear this divine communication clearly. When your mind is constantly busy, constantly chattering, it's like trying to hear a whisper in a crowded, noisy room. But when you create moments of stillness, when you step back from the noise and demands of daily life, You create the conditions where subtle guidance can be received. This doesn't mean you need to spend hours in meditation, though that can certainly be beneficial. Even 5 minutes of quiet time, of simply being present and receptive, can open the channel of communication. Sit quietly and ask a question that's important to you. Then listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole being. Notice what thoughts arise, what feelings emerge, what images come to mind. Trust that whatever appears in the silence has significance. Prayer, too, is a form of two-way communication. Most people think of prayer as talking to God, making requests, expressing gratitude, but true prayer includes listening, being open to receiving guidance and inspiration. When you pray, don't just talk, listen. Create space for a response. Be open to receiving answers in unexpected ways and at unexpected times. The universe often communicates through what might seem like coincidences or chance encounters. You run into exactly the right person at exactly the right time. A book falls off a shelf and opens to exactly the page you needed to read. A song comes on the radio with lyrics that speak directly to your situation. These synchronicities are not accidents. They're evidence of the intelligent, loving force that's orchestrating events behind the scenes to support your highest good. Start paying attention to the synchronicities in your life. Keep a journal of meaningful coincidences, of perfect timing, of unexpected meetings and opportunities. The more you notice and acknowledge these events, the more they seem to occur. It's as if your attention and appreciation increase the universe's ability to communicate with you in this way. Your emotions are also messengers. When you feel joy, excitement, enthusiasm, that's your inner guidance system telling you you're moving in the right direction. When you feel drained, frustrated, or consistently unhappy, that's valuable information too. Your emotions are like a compass, always pointing you toward what serves your highest good and away from what doesn't. But remember, this doesn't mean you should make major life decisions based solely on temporary emotional states. Sometimes we need to move through difficult emotions to get to the other side. Sometimes the thing that challenges us most is exactly what we need for our growth. The key is learning to distinguish between emotions that are guiding you towards something better and emotions that are part of a necessary growth process. Children are natural receivers of divine communication. They haven't yet learned to filter out the subtle messages that adults dismiss as imagination or coincidence. They talk to invisible friends, have prophetic dreams, know things they couldn't possibly know through ordinary means. If you have children in your life, pay attention to what they say and do. They might be delivering exactly the message you need to hear. The elderly, too, often have a special connection to this divine communication. As people near the end of their earthly experience, the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thinner. They often speak of visits from deceased loved ones, have dreams that provide comfort and guidance, sense things that others can't perceive. Rather than dismissing these experiences, consider that they might be glimpses of the broader reality that's always present but not always accessible to our ordinary awareness. Your life circumstances themselves are a form of communication. Where you were born, the family you grew up in, the challenges you faced, the talents you've developed. None of this is random. You chose this particular set of circumstances because they provide exactly the experiences your soul needs for its growth and evolution. Even the difficulties make sense when you understand them as opportunities for developing wisdom, compassion, and strength. This doesn't mean you should passively accept circumstances that can be changed. Part of the divine communication might be the inspiration and motivation to improve your situation, to heal relationships, to develop your gifts more fully. But it does mean approaching your life with curiosity rather than judgment, with a sense of wonder about what you're meant to learn and contribute through your unique set of experiences. Books have a remarkable way of finding us at exactly the right moment. How many times have you picked up a book and found it contained exactly the message you needed? How often has a friend recommended something to read that ended up changing your perspective completely? The written word is one of the primary ways wisdom is transmitted across time and space. Stay open to the books, articles, and written materials that seem to call to you. Music, too, carries divine messages. Songs have the power to heal, to inspire, to comfort, to challenge. Pay attention to the music that moves you, the lyrics that seem to speak directly to your situation. Artists often channel inspiration from sources beyond their ordinary awareness, creating works that carry healing frequencies and transformative messages. Art in all its forms can be a vehicle for divine communication. A painting that stops you in your tracks, a sculpture that evokes deep emotion, a dance performance that touches your soul, these are not just aesthetic experiences. They're encounters with truth and beauty that can shift your consciousness, heal old wounds, and open new possibilities. The weather itself can be a form of communication. That sudden rainstorm that forced you to stay inside when you needed rest. That unexpectedly beautiful day that lifted your spirits when you were feeling down. That snow that created the perfect quiet atmosphere for reflection. When you start seeing weather as part of the larger intelligence that governs life, even storms become gifts. Numbers carry meaning and significance beyond their mathematical function. If you keep seeing certain number combinations on clocks, license plates, receipts, pay attention. Different numbers carry different vibrational qualities and messages. The universe might be trying to get your attention through this numerical language. Your work, your career, the way you spend your days. This too is an arena for divine communication. Are you energized by what you do or drained? Do you feel like you're contributing something meaningful or just going through the motions? Your satisfaction and fulfillment levels are important feedback about whether you're aligned with your purpose. Don't ignore the messages your work life is sending you. Relationships are perhaps the most intense form of divine communication we experience. Every person who comes into your life brings gifts, lessons, and opportunities for growth. Even difficult relationships serve a purpose. They often show us parts of ourselves we need to heal or strengthen. The person who triggers your anger might be showing you where you still need to develop patience. The person who disappoints you might be teaching you about healthy boundaries. Your romantic relationships especially are spiritual classrooms. The person you're drawn to, the patterns that repeat in your love life, the ways you give and receive love, all of this contains important information about your soul's journey. Instead of seeing relationship challenges as problems to be solved, try seeing them as curriculums designed to help you grow into a more loving, whole person. Family relationships, too, are rich with spiritual significance. You didn't randomly end up in your particular family. The dynamics you experienced growing up, the strengths and challenges of your family system, the role you played among your siblings, all of this shaped you in ways that serve your ultimate purpose. Even families that seem dysfunctional contain gifts of resilience, independence, and compassion that might not have developed otherwise. Your health is constantly giving you feedback about how well you're caring for yourself on all levels. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Minor symptoms often appear before major problems, serving as early warning systems. Pay attention to patterns in your health. Do you get sick when you're pushing too hard? Do certain types of stress affect specific parts of your body? Your physical body is incredibly wise and is always trying to maintain balance and health. Money and material circumstances also carry messages. Financial stress might be pushing you to develop new skills or find more aligned work. Unexpected expenses might be redirecting your resources toward more important priorities. Windfalls and opportunities might be confirming that you're on the right path. Instead of seeing money as purely practical, try to understand the spiritual lessons embedded in your financial experiences. Your living space communicates with you constantly. The home you're drawn to, the way you arrange your belongings, the colors and textures that appeal to you. All of this reflects and influences your inner state. When your living space feels chaotic or uncomfortable, it might be reflecting internal disorder that needs attention. When you create beauty and harmony in your environment, it supports the same qualities within yourself. The timing of events in your life is rarely random. Things happen when you're ready for them, when you have the wisdom and strength to handle them properly, that opportunity that comes just when you need it most. That challenge that appears when you've grown strong enough to meet it. That person who enters your life exactly when you need what they have to offer. This divine timing is always at work, orchestrating events for everyone's highest good. Technology, despite its apparent separation from nature and spirit, can also be a vehicle for divine communication. the podcast that automatically starts playing exactly what you need to hear, the video that appears in your social media feed with perfect timing, the technical glitch that forces you to pause and reconsider your approach. Even our digital tools can be used by the universe to get messages through to us. Travel and new environments often facilitate divine communication by taking us out of our familiar routines and opening us to new perspectives. The person you sit next to on an airplane, the unexpected detour that leads to a beautiful discovery, the foreign culture that teaches you about different ways of living. All of these travel experiences carry potential messages and lessons. Your fears often point toward areas where you're being called to grow. That thing you're most afraid of doing might be exactly what you need to do to step into your power. Fear isn't always a stop sign. Sometimes it's a compass pointing toward your greatest opportunities for expansion. The universe often communicates important next steps through the very things that make us most uncomfortable. Your desires and longings are also forms of divine communication. The career you dream about, the relationship you yearn for, the creative expression that calls to you. These aren't random wishes. They're glimpses of your potential, preview of what your life could become. Instead of dismissing your dreams as unrealistic, consider that they might be invitations from your highest self to step into a larger version of your life. Sleep patterns and energy levels throughout the day carry information too. Are you naturally more creative in the morning or evening? Do you need more rest during certain seasons or life phases? Do you feel energized by certain activities and drained by others? Your natural rhythms are trying to tell you something about how to structure your life for maximum well-being and effectiveness. The animals and insects that appear in your life repeatedly might be bringing specific messages. Different creatures carry different messages, different wisdom. That hawk that keeps circling overhead might be calling you to see your life from a higher perspective. Those butterflies that keep appearing might be confirming that you're in a time of transformation. Indigenous traditions have detailed understandings of animal messages that can enrich your awareness of these communications. Your addictions and compulsive behaviors, while challenging, also contain messages. They often point to legitimate needs that are being met in unhealthy ways. The person who drinks too much might be seeking connection and relaxation. The person who overeats might be trying to fill an emotional void. The person who works compulsively might be avoiding feelings they don't know how to process. Instead of just fighting these behaviors, try to understand what they're trying to tell you about your deeper needs. Even your mistakes and failures carry divine messages. They're not evidence that you're inadequate or that life is working against you. They're course corrections, feedback about approaches that don't serve you, opportunities to develop resilience and wisdom. Every successful person has a trail of failures behind them, and each failure taught them something essential about what works and what doesn't. The way you parent, or the way you were parented, contains spiritual significance. The challenges your children present often reflect your own areas for growth. The qualities you want to develop in them often mirror qualities you're working to strengthen in yourself. Parenting is one of the most intensive spiritual practices available. It constantly calls forth your highest patience, love, and wisdom. Your physical appearance and how you feel about your body also carry messages. The way you care for yourself physically reflects your relationship with yourself on all levels. Body image issues often point to deeper questions about self-worth and self-acceptance. Taking care of your physical health is a form of self-love and respect for the vehicle that carries your soul through this lifetime. The books you're drawn to at different times in your life, the teachers who appear when you're ready for new learning, the courses and workshops that capture your interest, all of these are part of your ongoing spiritual education. Your learning path is uniquely yours, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what you need to understand next. Your sensitivity levels, whether you're naturally more sensitive to emotions, energy, sound, or other environmental factors, are not weaknesses, but rather gifts. Sensitive people often serve as emotional barometers for their families and communities, picking up on subtleties that others miss. Instead of seeing sensitivity as something to overcome, consider it a tool for receiving more refined forms of divine communication. The cycles and patterns in your life, the situations that repeat, the types of people you keep attracting, the lessons that keep presenting themselves in different forms, these are not punishments, but rather persistent invitations to learn and grow. Until you master a particular lesson, life will keep providing opportunities to practice and develop that understanding. Your creative expressions, no matter what form they take, are channels for divine communication. When you're painting, writing, singing, dancing, gardening, cooking, whenever you're creating something with love and attention, you're opening yourself to inspiration from sources beyond your ordinary thinking mind. Many artists speak of feeling like conduits for something larger than themselves. The way you give and receive help reveals important spiritual patterns. Are you comfortable asking for assistance when you need it? Do you give help freely or with strings attached? Do you receive gracefully or feel guilty and undeserving? Your relationship with giving and receiving reflects your understanding of the interconnected nature of life. Your relationship with time itself carries spiritual significance. Do you feel rushed and pressured, always running behind? Do you procrastinate and avoid commitment? Or do you feel a natural flow and rhythm to your activities? Your experience of time reflects your level of trust in life's unfolding and your ability to stay present in each moment. The seasons of your life, childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, middle age, elderhood, each carry their own gifts and challenges, their own forms of divine communication. Instead of resisting the natural changes that come with aging, try to understand what each life phase is trying to teach you and give you. Your relationship with authority figures, parents, teachers, bosses, government, often reflects your relationship with divine authority. Do you rebel against all guidance, even when it's helpful? Do you give away your power to anyone who seems confident? Or do you maintain healthy respect while staying true to your own inner authority? These patterns reveal important information about your spiritual maturity. The way you handle conflict and disagreement shows your level of spiritual development. Can you stay centered when others are upset? Do you automatically take things personally, or can you see conflict as information about different needs and perspectives? Your conflict resolution skills reflect your ability to stay connected to love, even in challenging circumstances. Your relationship with death and loss, while difficult, contains some of life's most profound communications. Every ending makes space for something new to begin. Every goodbye teaches you about the preciousness of what you have while you have it. Every loss reveals the indestructible nature of love itself. As you begin to see your entire life as a conversation with the divine, everything changes. You stop feeling like a victim of random events and start feeling like an active participant in a meaningful dialogue. You become curious about what life is trying to teach you through every experience. You develop faith not just in good outcomes, but in the perfect wisdom of whatever unfolds. This shift in perspective transforms not just how you experience your own life, but how you relate to others as well. When you understand that everyone is receiving divine communication through their circumstances, you develop more compassion for people whose lives look different from yours. You stop judging and start wondering what their soul is learning through their particular set of challenges and gifts. Living with this awareness requires practice and patience with yourself. There will be times when you forget to listen, when you get caught up in drama and lose sight of the bigger picture. That's okay. That's part of being human. The goal isn't perfection, but rather increasing awareness and responsiveness to the guidance that's always available. Start where you are, with what's happening in your life right now. What is this day trying to teach you? What are your current challenges calling forth in you? What are your joys confirming about your path? The divine communication isn't waiting for you to become more spiritual or more worthy. It's happening right now, in the midst of your ordinary, beautiful, imperfect life. Trust that you have everything you need to hear and respond to this communication. You don't need special training or psychic abilities. You just need willingness to pay attention, to consider that your life might be more meaningful and guided than you previously thought. The universe is not just speaking to special people or in special moments. It's speaking to you right now through the life you're actually living. This is the ultimate freedom. Realizing that you're not alone, not abandoned, not left to figure everything out by yourself. There's a loving intelligence that knows you intimately, that speaks your language, that communicates through the details of your everyday experience, all you have to do is listen, pay attention, and trust that what you hear is leading you exactly where you need to go. Your shopping experiences carry messages too. That item you suddenly feel drawn to purchase, the store you decide to visit on impulse, the salesperson who shares exactly the insight you needed, these aren't just commercial transactions. They're opportunities for divine communication through the marketplace of life. Even running out of something at home forces you to venture out, creating possibilities for encounters and experiences you wouldn't have had otherwise. The temperature of your environment speaks to you constantly. That sudden chill that makes you reach for a sweater just as you're about to hear difficult news, preparing your body to comfort itself. That wave of warmth that envelops you when you're making the right decision. That restless feeling in stuffy rooms that drives you outside for fresh air and new perspectives. Your body's responses to temperature changes often correlate with emotional and spiritual shifts happening simultaneously. Technology failures and glitches, while frustrating, often redirect your energy toward more important matters. That computer crash that forces you to step away from work when you've been pushing too hard. That phone that mysteriously stops working right before you were about to make a call you'd later regret. That internet outage that creates unexpected family time or quiet reflection. Instead of seeing these technical problems as obstacles, consider them as course corrections from a loving universe. Your eating habits and food cravings contain spiritual information. That sudden desire for comfort food when you need emotional nurturing. That loss of appetite when you're processing difficult emotions. That craving for fresh, healthy foods when your body needs cleansing and renewal. Even your relationship with cooking, whether you find it meditative or stressful, creative or burdensome, reflects your relationship with nurturing yourself and others. The clothing you choose each day reflects and influences your inner state. That outfit that makes you feel confident before an important meeting, those colors you're drawn to during different emotional seasons, the way certain fabrics feel comforting when you're sad or energizing when you need motivation. Your wardrobe choices are not just about appearance, they're expressions of how you want to show up in the world. Public transportation and commuting experiences offer rich opportunities for divine communication. The subway delay that leads to an unexpected conversation with a fellow passenger, the different route you take that shows you a beautiful part of your city you'd never notice, the podcast episode that plays during your drive with exactly the message you needed. Even traffic jams can be invitations to practice patience or to notice things you miss when you're rushing. Your relationship with cleaning and organizing your space reflects spiritual principles, that sudden urge to clean when you're processing emotional changes. The way decluttering your physical space often leads to mental clarity, the satisfaction of creating order from chaos, which mirrors the spiritual work of bringing consciousness to unconscious patterns. Even the dust accumulating in corners can remind you of areas in your life that need attention. Sporting events and physical activities carry divine messages through competition, teamwork, and personal achievement. That runner's high that connects you to euphoric states of consciousness. The way team sports teach you about cooperation and individual contribution to collective goals. The patience required for activities like fishing or hiking that force you to slow down and align with natural rhythms rather than human schedules. Your relationship with money reveals spiritual lessons about value, worth, and exchange of energy. The way financial abundance flows when you're aligned with your purpose versus how it seems to evaporate when you're operating from fear. The unexpected expenses that redirect your resources toward more important priorities. The windfalls that come exactly when you need them most, confirming you're on the right path. Photography and the images you're drawn to capture or collect speak to your soul's desires and recognition of beauty. The sunset that stops you in your tracks, demanding to be photographed and shared. The candid moment that captures something eternal about human nature. The landscapes that call to you, often reflecting internal emotional terrains you're working to understand or heal. Your exercise routines and physical activities communicate important information about your energy levels and life balance. The workouts that leave you energized versus those that drain you. The sports or movement practices that bring you joy versus those that feel like punishment. The way your body craves different types of movement during different life phases and emotional seasons. Library visits and bookstore browsing create opportunities for serendipitous discovery. The book that falls off the shelf as you walk by. The overheard conversation between strangers that addresses exactly what you've been wondering about. The magazine article that catches your eye while waiting in line. These literary encounters are rarely random. They're part of your ongoing education from the universe. Your sleep quality and dream patterns reflect your spiritual and emotional processing. The restless nights that coincide with major life decisions brewing in your subconscious. The peaceful sleep that comes after resolving conflicts or making difficult but right choices. The dreams that provide creative solutions to problems you've been consciously struggling with for weeks. Gardening and plant care offer direct communication with the earth's wisdom. The way certain plants thrive in your care while others struggle, reflecting your own life force and attention. The seasonal cycles that teach patience and trust in natural timing. The satisfaction of nurturing growth and the lessons that come from accepting when things don't survive despite your best efforts. Your response to art, whether creating it or experiencing it, opens channels for divine inspiration. The colors you mix that perfectly capture an emotion you couldn't express in words. The music that moves you to tears without knowing why. The sculpture that shifts something inside your chest, rearranging your understanding of beauty and form. Art bypasses the rational mind and speaks directly to the soul. Volunteer work and service opportunities reveal spiritual truths about interconnection and purpose, the way helping others often heals something inside yourself, the skills and experiences you've acquired that turn out to be exactly what someone else desperately needs, the satisfaction that comes from contributing to something larger than your individual concerns. Your relationship with pets and animals provides constant lessons in unconditional love, presence, and living authentically. The way animals sense your emotions before you're fully aware of them yourself. The comfort they provide during difficult times. The joy they express in simple pleasures like walks and treats, reminding you to appreciate life's basic gifts. Repair and maintenance tasks around your home mirror internal work on your personal development. The broken appliance that forces you to slow down and learn new skills. The leaky pipe that teaches patience and problem solving. The garden that requires consistent attention, reflecting how relationships and personal growth need ongoing care rather than sporadic, intense effort. Your cooking experiences and relationship with food preparation connect you to ancient human activities of nourishment and creativity. The meals that turn out perfectly when you're cooking with love versus those that somehow go wrong when you're distracted or resentful. The way sharing food creates community and the spiritual significance of breaking bread together. Banking and financial transactions, while seemingly mundane, carry information about your relationship with security, trust, and material world navigation. The accounts that grow when you're feeling abundant versus those that drain when you're operating from scarcity. The investment opportunities that appear when you're ready to trust your financial future to larger forces. Medical appointments and health checkups provide feedback about how well you're caring for your physical temple, the clean bill of health that comes after months of better self-care, the minor symptoms that appear as early warning systems, the healthcare providers who appear in your life with exactly the expertise you need at the right time. Your relationship with weather patterns and seasonal changes reflects your adaptability and acceptance of life's natural rhythms. The rainy days that force indoor reflection time. The sunny weather that energizes outdoor activities and social connection. The seasonal transitions that mark internal passages and growth cycles in your personal development. Postal mail and package deliveries create small opportunities for surprise and connection. The unexpected letter from an old friend arriving exactly when you needed encouragement. The package that arrives damaged, teaching patience and the impermanence of material things. The mail carrier who becomes a friendly face in your daily routine, reminding you that community exists in the smallest interactions. Your relationship with time, whether you tend to run early or late, feel rushed or relaxed, reveals spiritual patterns about trust and control. The way being punctual reflects respect for others and yourself. The chronic lateness that might indicate underlying resistance or fear. The perfect timing that occurs when you release control and trust the flow of events. Birthdays and anniversaries mark not just the passage of time, but opportunities for reflection on growth and gratitude. The surprise parties that remind you of how much you're loved. The quiet birthdays that invite introspection about your life's direction. The anniversaries that celebrate not just relationships, but the courage required to commit and keep growing together. Your entertainment choices, movies, books, music, shows, often reflect and influence your consciousness. The stories that captivate you frequently mirror your own psychological and spiritual themes. The characters you relate to reveal aspects of yourself you're working to understand or develop. The genres that attract you during different life phases correspond to your current learning needs. Community events and local gatherings provide opportunities for connection and service. The neighborhood meetings where you discover shared concerns and solutions. The local festivals that celebrate culture and bring people together. The community volunteer projects that reveal your capacity for contribution and leadership. These daily communications from the divine require no special ability to receive, only willingness to remain open and attentive. When you begin to see your entire existence as an ongoing conversation with the highest wisdom in the universe, every moment becomes sacred, every encounter meaningful, every challenge a gift wrapped in difficulty. The ordinary transforms into the extraordinary when you realize that nothing in your life is separate from the divine intelligence that breathes life into every moment.